Hello, welcome back to JoJo's Bakehouse. I'm Ginny and today I'm going to be showing you how to do a rainbow cake. So, I'm going to do mine in 6-inch tins. The recipe, as usual, see this little arrowy thing down here in this corner of the screen? Click that, the recipe will just come down there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this in 6-inch today, and the recipe will be written for 6-inch, and I'm also going to put it in an 8-inch as well. So if you're using 8-inch, same method. Just use the other recipe instead. So I'm doing mine in 2 batches because I thought not everybody has 6 tins. So I'm just going to show you how to do it in batch 1 and then batch 2. And again, I'll explain all this underneath in the recipe list. So I'm going to get started. I'm using 250 grams of everything as usual. This is just my vanilla sponge. So in, as I normally do, with the butter and the white sugar, and we're going to whip that up, as we always do, on a medium high speed until it's really, really lovely, fluffy, incorporated, and that is going to take around about 3 to 5 minutes. So if you have if you don't have a creaming paddle, stop halfway through, scrape down, and let it go again. So I'll do this, and I'll be straight back to you. Right. I'm all whipped and it looks like this, lovely and fluffy, like a mousse, all incorporated, and that's really important because that's our air. So now we're going to put all the other ingredients in. So I've got 3 large eggs straight in there. Then I've got 250 of self-raising flour and half a teaspoon of baking powder. If I can just get that in through the side, there we go. Move those out of the way. And then I've also got vanilla. Something to put that in. There we go. Right, and then I'm going to put in a teaspoon and a half of vanilla. So a teaspoon and a half of vanilla. Putting in that little bit extra because we're adding colours. And I want to make sure that if there is any flavour that comes off the colour, that it is completely masked by the vanilla. So now I need to put a tea towel over the top of this so I don't get covered, and let this go on a low speed just to incorporate. So whilst we do that, then I'm going to get my scales, because we're going to do this properly, and some kind of tub. So I've got that on there. And I'm going to be pouring these ingredients into this to find out how much I've got so I can divide it by my 3 pans. When you're doing a rainbow cake, if the layers are off, it's going to look terrible because the colours are really going to be enhancing the layers. So you want them to be exactly the same. Or as near to exactly the same as you possibly can. Right, so mine's incorporated. Don't let it go for more than a minute. And don't forget that scrape down halfway through. Right, so that's ready. So now, I'm going to put this in here. And see how much mixture I've got. There we go. So, I think I've got there. Come off, come off, come off. Why won't that come off? There we go. Right. Okay, I've got 850 grams of mixture. So, Alexa, what's 850 divided by 3?
850 divided by 3 is approximately 283.3333.
Alexa, stop. So I need 280 grams, I'm going to say, in each one of these. So take this, and we'll pop that on there. There's my other spoon. Right, and then, oh, hang on, wrong thing. That's all, don't put it into that, we haven't coloured it. Right, 280 in each. Okay, so mine are all divided out. So you should be looking around about, with the mixture, anything from about 260 to 280, depending on what it turned out like for yourself. Now, this is where we're going to colour. So, I've got a tablespoon of milk for each. So 3 tablespoons altogether. I've divided them into tubs. Now, I've already done the first 2. And I'm going to do the last one with you. So I've got all these in order. Trying to get the rainbow was just, it was a laugh in itself. So many people think they know the order of the rainbow. I thought I did. I don't. So I do now. So I'm going red, orange, yellow, green, blue and purple. Right, if I put these here, like this, that might help you. There we go. Right, so I've got red, I've got orange, I'm doing yellow next. So I'm using Sugar Flare, but whatever you wish to use. I'm going to take some of the yellow, take around about half a teaspoon, or 1/4 of a teaspoon that is, into the mix. Take a spoon, and just with the milk there, we're just going to mix it up. And then that way, you're not having to overwork this. All you're doing is putting in the milk, it's just folding in the milk, and it just makes it all so much better, because you can make this batter quite stiff now and quite dense if you're going to keep mixing and mixing and mixing. So do it this way. Right, so let's get this, and we'll go yellow, in it goes, and just make sure that you get it all out. There we go. And then we're just going to mix this in. Try not to beat it about, try and fold it. So around the edges, cut through. Around the edges, cut through. I want to knock that air out. But you also need the colour to be incorporated all the way. So round the outside and cut through until it's incorporated, and then that can go in to one of our tins that are already lined, and then we'll repeat with the other 2 colours. Okay, so all my colours are in, and my red, and I'm going to pop these into the oven now. I've got my oven on 160 degrees fan, so that's 180 regular, and I'm going to pop these in for, I think, around about 20 minutes. I'll let you know as soon as I've done them. So I'll see you soon. Okay, mine are out of the oven, so they took 22 minutes. And there they are. So I've got the yellow, the orange, and, the red. So I'll leave those there just to cool. I'm going to go on and do the other colours, which will be my green, my blue and my purple, and do those in the very same way as we've done that, and then we'll come back together to decorate it. So I'll see you in a moment. Right, I'm done. Here they all are. So, and I've got on a bit of paper over here, the order, because I know I'm just going to keep forgetting, so there's my little bit of paper. Right, I've got Swiss meringue buttercream here, because my family loves Swiss meringue buttercream. You'll see my method for making Swiss meringue buttercream. I will add it into the link box underneath. So again, look here where the recipe is, and you'll see my Swiss meringue link just there. Really, really simple. The last thing I did is I've just left it going here for around about 3 minutes with the paddle on, really slowly, just to knock any of the air out, because there's been so much whipping going on in it. Mine is also completely white, so I will tell you, when I did my butter in the Swiss meringue, when I whip up the butter, I used I just kept it going and going to get it as white as I could, and then I used this colour mill. Colour mill is an oil based, so it won't separate when you put it directly with the butter. So that's what I did. I made the butter as white as I could. I put about half a teaspoon of this in, and then whipped, and then when the meringue was done, added the coloured butter to it. So if you are using my Swiss meringue, that's how I do it. The colour goes into the butter, that gets whipped up, and then it goes into the actual meringue mixture, and that's how I get my colour. But this is perfectly white, and this colour milk is excellent for that. So, we have to build it. How am I building it? Bottom up. So I'm going to start with purple. I don't have to trim the tops of these because they're all flat. When I took them out the tin, I took them out when they were still warm out the tin and just turned them upside down. So when it's warm, they're deliberately going flat, and then I haven't got to cut anything off. So they are, because of that, they're slightly stuck on the parchment paper, so I'm just using a knife to get it off. There we go. Right. Ooh, hang on. Let's get some of this. Put it onto there like that. And pop this one on here. Excellent. And I'm still spinning, so I'm just going to put a little bit. There we go. Onto the bottom there. Right. Now it's always a better idea when you're using the same buttercream for the inside as well as the outside, that you take a batch and put it into a separate container, because if you keep going back in, you're going to end up putting the crumbs on the outer layer, and then when you do the outer layer, it's not going to look smooth. So let's just get a different tub, and I'll be straight back to you. Right, let's take some of this out. Right. You could just use regular buttercream for this, you didn't have to use Swiss meringue. So take out the minimal amount that you need. You can add more to it, but you don't want to have this left over and want to be putting it back in there, because it's just not going to be good. Right, so let's put some of this on. All the way round. A good layer. Again, same way I always do it. Keep your eye on this. Don't look at the cake. Spin and your arm won't move then, and you'll get a perfect finish across the top. So I'm going to build each one of these. My next one, because I'm going for the bottom up, is blue. So again, let's just show you again before I do the rest. So there we go. Grab my blue. Now I always tend to put my cakes on top down. The way that I put these down is the way I put them on, just because I find that this is just such a nice, the bottom part is a nicer work surface. So that's that. Now as you can see, the knife I've got over there that I'm taking them off the parchment paper with is actually got quite a lot of crumbs on it. So before you carry on and you go and get another one, please make sure that you just wipe it off, because you don't want blue crumbs going through the middle of the rainbow cake, because you want the colours to all just look. Right, there we go. So I'm going to carry on building this and come back to you, so I'll see you in a moment. Okay, here it is. I mean, it's big, but I'm doing a tall cake with you. So if you didn't want it this big, just half the ingredients of everything, and then it'll be obviously half the size. So because this is tall, I'm going to use the cling film method with you, which I'm going to show you now. So we just want to go round and smooth out all of the buttercream or Swiss meringue, whichever you've chosen to use, all the way around. Don't waste any. Right, just moving my arm up and just spinning it all round. I'm not crumb coating. This is going to be I'm going to show you this method now, and this is my cling film crumb method. If I was to crumb this now, trying to get it, it's a tall cake, it's going to go lopsided, it's just going to slide, and it's just not going to be great. We also want to make sure that this is completely straight, and trying to do that with a taller cake can be quite difficult. So, get some cling film, take it round the top, take it round to the front. Make sure it's flush to where you want it to be, and it's really hitting into the bottom of the cake properly. You want it by the board, and then take it round and just secure it in. And then take this, spin your turntable and just keep pulling on the cling film and it will get tighter. Hold on to the cake if it keeps flying around. Right. Lovely. I'm going to take that off and just secure that there. Push it in at the top because we've not put any buttercream on the top part. I'm going to leave that a little bit open. I'm going to show you why in a second. So now you can freely move this cake around to make sure it's completely straight. Falling off my board. There you go. Just give it a really good push around. Get it straight. This is going to hold that in place then. This is going to set in the fridge a little bit stiffer. Once you take it out, this isn't going to move around and you're going to be able to get that layer on the top, and that's really important. Now if you're concerned about your tall cake and you want to dowel it, I had a plastic dowel here, and all I did is you take it up to the side here. You don't want it to come above the sponge because you don't want it to be seen. So make sure you cut it just so that it's just below this here. So I've done that. And we're going to take the dowel and try and make sure you get it directly in the middle. Ooh, don't drop it like I just did. Right. And then we're going to push it down. Keep it as straight as possible. Keep looking at just the dowel, not the cake, because then you'll be able to keep it. And when it's still a little bit out the top, take the other one and push. And then that'll push that right inside of the cake then. Now we're all dowelled up. And this needs about half an hour to an hour in the fridge now, just to give you that really strong base so that we can decorate this, get this done, and then we know that it's going to be secure and safe and really, really good for us to be able to decorate. So I'll see you in an hour. Right, it's been in the fridge. I've got my Swiss meringue still here on the side, so I'll just take the cling film off of this. Right, let's undo this. There you go, and you can see that it doesn't come off, so it's all nicely, look, together, so we can decorate properly now. So I've got a big tall bench scraper, and then I've got my palette knife. So we're just going to go in and cover over all of this. Because it's tall, start at the top, work the way down. You'll be able to feel none of the, don't worry about the buttercreams because none of the crumbs are coming off because they've set in the fridge there. Which is just what we wanted. So there is no crumb coat, this is just a base going on straight away because the cling film acted like a crumb coat. So right down into that board. Okay. Just keep putting it on. I got a 6-inch board on the bottom there, so I'm just making sure that it all covers over with that. There we go. I need a spatula just to get the rest out of this. Right, it's just there's a lot in the bowl here and I need it. So, here we are. And again, so it's a really good tip for you to get out what you can, leave it there on the spatula and then just slide it off onto the cake. Right. Okay, nearly there. All the way up to the top. Okay, and now we're going to take our bench scraper. I'm going to smooth all of this out. Just before I do that, I'm just trying to, as you go round with the palette knife there, you can almost see the bits it's going to miss, so I'm just trying to cover those over now to save me some time. So if you get your palette knife there on the bottom and you stick it to that board, that's going to give you the bottom part. Right. Let's go in. So same as I've always done before. Let's just get this off because I don't want to waste my buttercream. Right. Stick it to the board on the bottom. Hand halfway up on this so that it's the same. And you can already see, look at, I've got a big difference here. So we're just going to come round. Don't worry if it's getting too close there. Initially, we just need to get this so that it's straight all the way through. So that end's better. Right. So hand halfway up. Keep it straight. Lovely. Okay, so I'm doing my usual thing. Lots of gaps all around the top there, so I really need to come into the top part of there. Quite a bit on just there. Again, use this all the way around the top. Again. So I'm just like dabbing it on the top part so it sticks out. And I can see a little bit there too. Right. And then we go back in again. Ignore this part, I know this is sticking out and it's pulling slightly. Just try now to take your weight towards the top part. Don't go too hard now, just gliding. Always looking in the same spot. I'm looking at the top now because that's really where I'm concentrating. Lovely. Now we are really getting the correct shape coming through. So I'm now going to just turn this on a bit of a different angle. Just looking at the top. Brilliant. Right, now I have my shape. Pull these bits in. Fill this bit up. Okay. And we're just going to build up on the rest of the cake. So with what I've just done, we're just going to do the very same thing again. Just making sure you always look at that knife with this. It's going to give you that straight top, see? Right. So now we're going to go around and we're just going to fill up more and do the same thing so that you can't see this cake anymore. So do the same thing over again. Right, okay. Oh, lots of noise, lots of noise. So I'm just going to wet it now. I've completely covered my cake. I am putting my bench scraper into a saucepan, a deep saucepan. Can you see that there? There we go. Just so that I can get it warm enough so that I can get it along the side of the cake. So gently around. There we go. Lovely. Back in. And this is just going to give that last little smooth off, because you can see I've got quite a lot of air pockets there and I want to get rid of them. So we will just smooth this off with the heat. Always making sure you keep your hands back. This is why a metal scraper is so important. Lovely. Really finishes it off so nicely. So I'm going to go and finish all this all the way around, and then I'll be back to you and we'll be finished. I'll show you the last go round. So I've been round twice, just touching up. So my last go, and literally I'm just skimming. There we go. There we are. I'm happy enough with that. So now we need to do the top. So with the top, I'm going to just clean off my knife, and I'll be straight back to you, and we'll get this top done, and I'm going to put some sprinkles just around the bottom, and I will be completely done. Okay, so that's all done. Put your palette knife into the water, same as what you did with bench scraper. Make sure it's nice and warm, hot I should say, and we're going to slice. So don't tip it on the side, keep it flat and move it across the top of the cake. And this is what's going to give you that really sharp edge. So again here, don't push, just glide in. And again, glide in. Glide in. We don't want shaky hands. And glide in, cutting off anything that you don't need. And again, you second guess sometimes, you're like, where do I go? Right. We are nearly there with the top. Always coming right into the middle so that you know, look how sharp and flat that is. One more. There we go. And that's the top done. So if you've got any, like I've got a seam here, put your knife back in. Very, very gently. Just move it across. There we go. And that will just blend it in. So if you have any parts that is just one little bit, don't take to a bench scraper and just keep going. Just use the back of the palette knife just to soften it out that little bit, and that way you're not taking anything off, you're just softening it up. And obviously this isn't massively important, this is just if you really want that look where all of the air pockets have gone. You wonder when you see people's cakes sometimes, you think, oh, now how have they done that? It's really just the heat knocking everything out on there. So there you go, I've just done a few bits there so you can see. I'm happy enough with this. I'm now going to put some sprinkles on because it is a rainbow cake and at the moment it looks a little bit boring. Right, so sprinkles. Take this water off. And there. Right, I'm going to take some of these sprinkles and put them all around the bottom of the board. Don't hit the side of it. You're probably going to need more than that. Take your palette knife and then push them in. Or if you don't want to use your palette knife, you can use your hand. Again, just pushing them in so that they stick. Palette knife is so much easier. Okay, so we do that all the way around on the bottom part. So now you know that the bottom is completely filled in, because that's the hardest bit to get to. Okay? And then it depends on how much you want to put on. You can keep going. The thicker amount, if I just show you one side, the thicker amount you do there, the more you can bring up. So there you go. See, I've come up a fair bit with this one. And we're just going to do that the whole way round. So I'll be back. Right, now I've put all those on, gather up the rest of what you've got. And then, if you want to, you could just leave it like that. But then, if you just pick some up and throw it at the side, it'll give you like this effect where it's a bit sporadic all the way. This is going everywhere. But I really like this kind of, it's heavy at the bottom and then it works its way up throughout, and it kind of gets a bit lighter, you know, less and less. So it's just a lovely effect, and you can just keep throwing them on, picking them up, throwing them on, picking them up, throwing them on. You could be there all day, but keep going until you're happy and you feel like you've got the effect that you want. Keep scraping them off. If you need to get them off of here, use your knife, go near to the edge at the inside and just spin it around, and you'll gather them all up. Tip it on its side a little bit, then you'll see it getting cleaner and tidier, and then you can just throw some more on again and make sure then it's uniform the whole way round. So I'm just going to finish this up. I'll be straight back to you. Okay, we're done. This is it. We've got all the colours in front. I threw bits around the outside and it looks like a rainbow cake now. So let's get some roll and let's cut it. And let's see what this looks like inside. Remember, I've got the dowel in there, so I need to be very careful how I get to it. So let's go in here like this. Lovely. Give the knife a wipe. Then in again. And the way down. Right. Let's have a look. Now I haven't refrigerated this beforehand. Woo, there it goes. And there we have it. Will it stay? Oh, no, it's going to have to lie down. There we go. Look at that. All over my fingers. So there is our slice. Look at that. So we have rainbow cake for you. I recommend you put it in the fridge and not cut into it straight away, because you get finger marks everywhere like that. But I hope you've enjoyed this. Remember, to make the white, I used the Colour Flare, and then, not the Colour Meal, sorry, in the white. I then used Sugar Flare Extra Red, Apricot Sugar Flare, Daffodil Sugar Flare. I used the Colour Meal Green, Ice Blue in the Sugar Flare, and Magenta. And that's how I achieved all those colours. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you really enjoy making your next rainbow cake. So I will see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.